Hey, shout out to Footballer's Diary.
Shout out Footballer's Diary.
Greatest asset is
LAFC. Footballer's Diary. We're back with another episode. We have our hometown guy, Shanyder Borgelin, player for Inter Miami. How you doing, bro? Great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm doing well. It's a little busy, but I'm great to be here.
Yeah, in the beginning of the season, man. So thank you for making time for us, bro. It's I was super excited to have you on. I love our South Florida players. Been following Haiti for a long time, so I was super excited to have you on.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Definitely an honor and a blessing to be here. So thank you all.
Oh, cool, bro. So let's get right to it. If you could, man, just start us out with where you're from, where you grew up playing.
So I'm from North Lauderdale, Florida. It's about like 10 minutes from the stadium, where we play at right now. But I grew up playing soccer there most of my life, so when I was about like 11 years old. And, I just kind of made my way out through Weston, SAT, which is a small club that I first played with. Ever since then, I just kind of went to Nonetheless Academy. That was Philadelphia Union. So I bounced around a lot, but that's kind of how I started.
Man, and did anybody in your family play? Do you come from like a soccer family?
Yeah. So my dad is actually from Haiti, and he never had the opportunity to play soccer growing up. But he made it a mission that when he came to America, that his sons or daughters, whatever one he had, it was going to be a soccer player or a musician. So, he was blessed with 3 big boys, and, we all took up soccer, basketball, and football. So, I took up soccer, obviously, but yeah, he taught me everything I know.
So you have siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers. One is 26 and the other is 28 or 27 or 28. One of them. Them boys are old. So.
Yeah. So you said they all play sports. Do they still play sports or?
Nah. So my oldest, he played soccer growing up. Then he transitioned to play basketball. So that's his love. And then my second one, he played football. But they're long done playing. But they were ballers back then though, for sure.
And how long were you at Philadelphia Union?
So I was there for about 4 or 5 years. I went there when I was about 14 years old. And then I came back down here when I was 20.
So that's a really crazy journey, man, because for people who know, Philadelphia Union is, especially over that period of time, has just been one of the best academies in the country. How'd you get to the best academy in the country?
This is by the grace of God, but I was just blessed to be in, I guess, like the positions to make it there. I never thought I'd play for an MLS academy, but I would say it was just through my talent and hard work and the showcases that I went to. So when I was with Weston.
And how long were we at Weston?
I was there for like a year. So I spent 1 season there. I was going to stay another season, but, my parents didn't agree with paying for an academy. And plus at that time, I'm not going to say we were poor or anything, but it was just priorities. So my dad was very into, the team's going to see you and they're going to let you play for free because of your talent. And he just didn't agree with the whole paying for an academy system. So, I just took a risk and, I just went somewhere else.
I mean, he's not wrong. It's like for people who aren't familiar with, youth soccer in the U.S., it's extremely expensive. It could be upwards of $5,000-$6,000 a year.
Yeah.
And, so I completely understand where he's coming from. So what happens from Weston?
We would go to a lot of showcases and I was able to get seen by, some smaller teams. And then when I broke away from Weston, I went to another team. That's when I was going to a lot of more showcases and that's when a lot more eyes were on me. And my dad just told me, just be the best player at every tournament you can go to. And, people will come to you and then they'll offer you contracts or offer you more opportunities. And, I listened to him and there was one showcase. I remember I was in Virginia at the time and my coach, Coach Ricky, who I'm really still cool with now, he was like, hey, this is your game right here. So I went out there and I scored two crazy goals, and Philadelphia Union scouts were there and they reached out to my family, and the rest is history. So, so it was a crazy, crazy thing.
When people say like destiny or God, like, I mean, you have to kind of believe it, right? Because in one season, 1 year with Weston, you know, highlighted yourself and got to Philadelphia Union for, from one, tournament. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy how, your life can change kind of overnight, which it did. So at that point, like, how old were you then?
I was about 14. Well, I was 13 when they reached out, but 14 when I made the decision to move over there.
So at 14, 13, 14 years old, like so you're huge now. For people who don't know, you're like 6'5", I think, right?
No, I was about like 6. I still have some growth left in me, but I was about like 6'2", maybe 6'1", 6'2".
That's
Yeah, at 14. So I was a big boy, but I was like very frail. I was very skinny. So, I was pretty flexible, pretty fast, but I didn't move like a tall guy anyway. So, I had to kind of get used to my body.
Yeah, and that's what, it really happens, like, especially for, long stride players, like there comes a time where it's very like awkward. But what's really interesting about you, and maybe it's because you didn't start off like stocky, strong. It's like, especially the other night when you guys played News Old Boys and you were playing on the outside. When I first seen you go outside, I was like, oh wow, like it was like a real winger position. And then when I started to see you move and like some of the passes you're making, I'm like, this guy can play winger for real.
I appreciate it. So wing is actually not mine. That's not my position,
Of
but
course not. But it was,
yeah.
yeah, but it was just crazy
Yeah.
to see that you were able to be that flexible. Early on, like, 13, 14 years old, were you like, how did you, cause there's a saying that a lot of people talk about, like with the bigger, stronger players, like when they get older, because they're always so much bigger, they don't grow technically, but you're super technical. How did you develop that?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I would just say it was more so before I even had a trainer, and I had my first trainer on like 12, 13. My dad just always had a ball in the house, and he just always let me kick the ball around, dribble around, use cones or shoes as like just basically obstacles for me to, maneuver. And it was just something that I was always used to. And I would always play with the older guys too, because I have two older brothers who played soccer at the time. So my dad would always let me play around with them. And that's where I really honed into my skills and trying to be comfortable with the ball as much as possible. And then when I grew into my body, that's when I was like, all right, if I can have skills, but also have a big frame, now I can use it to my advantage, where other players, they would have to rely on basically their skills. But, I was blessed enough to, just kind of work on that each and every single day. And, like I said, when I was at Weston, I had one big summer where I just tuned into my skills. And Coach Fernando, who was one of my coaches at the time, he was like, man, I want to make you into a player. And, I trusted him, and, I gave him everything that I had that summer, and, he turned me into a great player, and that's what really catapulted me into becoming a professional.
Bro, what a blessing, bro. So at 14 years old, you go to Philadelphia. Does your whole family go, or did you go to like the residency?
No, so I went to the residency program. It was a tough one. My mom, she's not having it at first. She didn't agree with, her 14-year-old boy going to an unknown state. But my dad talked to her, and, I sat both of my parents down and I said, if I stay in Florida, what can you guys do to help me get to where I want to be in life? Or, this in my soccer career at least. And my mom
Yeah.
really took a step back and was like, wow, if my 14-year-old boy is sitting us down and saying, hey, I want to accomplish this, I can't hold him back. So it was tough for her, but she let me do it finally. So it was definitely a blessing for her to do that.
That's like a really mature answer, honestly. It's like, as a parent, when someone says that, it's like you kind of, you do step back and kind of see like, wow, like he's right. So, but still, that must have been really hard. You said you were there like 4 years, right? 5 years?
Yeah. So my first 2 months there it was tough, because you come from being one of the best players in the state of Florida, or South Florida at least. And you go to being with the best players in the country. So that huge step was it was something I've never seen before because I'm playing with kids who played with the national team for many years, who been with the first team. Now they're playing with the second team. And I'm just a kid who came from travel soccer in Florida. So it was definitely a eye-opening moment for me because I was like, hey, if I want to be a professional, I have to put in hours of work just to maybe even catch up to these kids. And the first 2 months was tough because I wasn't playing much. It was a new place for me to be in. And I was in a house full of like 8, 9 different kids who are all best friends. And I'm just kind of like the new kid in town, you know? So it was definitely tough, but my mom was like, hey, you went over there for a dream and for a goal. And, you're not going to come back here without achieving that dream. And that's kind of what kept me going each and every single day.
Wow. So your family's like a huge part of your success and your support system.
Oh man, yeah, my family's the reason why I'm even here, man. I'm not supposed to be here. And by the grace of God, my dad and my mom, they're firm believers in Christ. And, because of them, I'm able to just continue, breaking barriers and, achieving things I never thought I'd be able to.
But it's like it's definitely like a destiny type story. You go to West End for one season, you go to a tournament, and then you end up in Philadelphia Union for 4 years. So while you were there, like, what were some of your highlights while you're there at Philadelphia Union, being at, one of the most historic academies in our country?
I'll say the biggest highlight for me was, I would have to say, signing my first professional contract there. That was definitely the biggest highlight for me. Um, I was actually signed my second season with them and when I was in the academy, which is crazy. Like I said,
That's crazy.
I started off pretty, I don't want to say bad, but it was kind of a tough thing for me to be there. But, I'd say the second season, I really honed into my skills and I became more confident. And, I just really learned the system as much as I could. And, I had big coaches always behind me, teaching me what to do. And, we had a management change at the time, and Ernst Tanner, who was the new sporting director at the time, he was like, hey, this kid might have a little something that I'm a little interested in. And he flew down to Florida, drove 3 hours just to come see my parents and talk to them. And he was like, hey, your kid is a good player. And I really want to hone in on this potential to be an even greater player. And my mom was, like I said, my mom was always the person who was like, the devil's advocate, but she was like, I don't know about that. But she was like, listen, trust me, like your kid's gonna be in good hands. And when I signed my first professional contract, that was a dream come true. And, it's a day I'll never forget.
It's crazy because you're still super young, and it feels like you've been around for a little while now, and it's just because, like, look, your second year at Philadelphia Union, you already, you're in the door. How do you, is it faith? Is your family? How do you deal with like so much, success in such a short period of time?
So it all started really when I was a kid. My dad, like I said, he's a firm believer. He's an orphan. He came from Haiti, a broken country right now, but it's still a love of mine, obviously. But yeah, my dad, before I was even born, I wasn't even supposed to be alive, to be honest. And when I was in my mom's womb, like 3 months, 6 months, I seen the doctor was like, yeah, they would want them to abort me because I wasn't gonna come out a normal kid. They
Really?
said I was gonna be a vegetable. Yeah. And my dad was really dealt with a tough choice because he had 2 sons already. And, for the doctors to say your kid's not going to come out normal, it was tough because he obviously didn't know if I was going to survive or not. But, he trusted God and I was able to come out normal. And he told me that, you know, you're here for a reason and soccer is one of those reasons too. So for me to be dealing with a lot of success at a short period of time, I think it's just a testimony to how great God is, but also, just the faith my dad has put in me. So it's not really a surprise to me, but definitely something I'm blessed with. So
So you have this like this feeling of complete faith in life because of that story. Somebody said one time, I forgot who said it, but they're like, prayers are answered through people. And that's amazing. It's kind of your story is that, you were the prayer and you are the person who, that's amazing, man. When you have a story like that, does it almost feel like, anything you meet then is like not a big deal?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, obviously I'm human. So, when an adversity does come, I think it's okay to have emotion and realize what's going on in the moment. But then you take a step back and realize everything you went through. For me, I wasn't, I wouldn't say I was always the best player, but I've always had to deal with adversity for sure growing up, especially in soccer, because nothing was just given to me. It was something I had to work for. And, I give thanks to the Philadelphia Union because they helped a lot with my mental side of the game. And it's like a very blue collar underdog type of thing where you can have all the talent in the world, but the only thing that's going to get you through the door is your work ethic and your mindset. So whenever I face adversity, it was, all right, I know this is probably going to be a little hard right now. And whatever people are telling you, whatever you might see right now, I just know how to handle it and, just keep going forward.
That's awesome, bro. So okay, so now, you're at Philadelphia, you signed pro. What brought you back to Miami? How'd you get back here?
So I have a year left on my contract. It was like an option year, when I was at Philadelphia Union. And, there was just a lot of changes. And I talked to my family and my agent, and we just decided, maybe it's time for a new change because I've learned everything that I possibly could when I was at Union, and Miami reached out. And it's crazy because Mark Prezant, he's a scout for Miami right now, that he knew about my situation. So he reached out to my agent and like, hey, there might be an opportunity here for Shanyder. Maybe we can get him in and see what can happen. And, when my agent brought it up to me that I could potentially go back home, I was a little skeptical at first, but I was like, you know what? I'm be around my parents and my friends and family. I think it's time for a homecoming, and I was blessed to be here. So I took the opportunity.
So interested to thank your parents, man, because that sounds like it's a bigger, like,
I was,
uh, but so for people who don't know, this was before Messi got here. This is before like Inter really became the global brand that it is, right?
yeah. It was a weird situation because, Miami, we couldn't really buy players, couldn't really bring certain players in. And I think we were sanctioned at the time. So it was a tough situation because the club was just trying to rebuild and, trying to fit pieces and see what worked, what didn't work. And, obviously now Messi's here, but I had no idea when I came here that, the GOAT will deal with it at Miami.
Man, that's crazy, bro. And like there was two games. One game I was at, you didn't even play, right? You were still, it was like, I think your first year here, and the Haitian, and this Afro-Caribbean people who were there to see you. And no, when you scored versus those old boys, every Haitian in the building went crazy. There was a guy in front of me who looked like he's seen a World Cup goal. That's how much it meant to him to see you score that goal. I'm talking about, he was dancing, happy, it was crazy.
Nah, it's crazy to see, just how much support the Asian people are giving me. I never thought it would be this much, to be honest, but I knew about that support since I was 17. That's when I first scored for the national team. This was in the U20s Olympic qualifiers, back in IMG. And when I scored that goal, I seen all the Haitians go crazy. And then even my dad cried for the first time. Never seen him cry in my life, except for that one time. And that's when I was like, wow, man, this, just the joy and the support that I get from Haiti is amazing. So I'm just happy.
I think it's particularly special about, one thing that, the Afro-Caribbean, fans, were saying when Inter was getting started. Cause when they first seen Inter getting started, it was very Spanish influenced, Latin American influenced. And they're like, hey, we kind of built the soccer community in South Florida. For people who don't know, Jamaican, Haitians were playing here.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe before anybody. Yeah, maybe before anybody. And so they were like really looking for, to see, hey, how are you going to represent the Afro Caribbean community here? We love, okay, we love the Latin American community for sure, but, show some love. And then when when you got your chance with Inter, it was like, this might be the one, like this might be our guy. And
Yeah,
so,
it was a crazy experience, man. And like I said, it's a blessing to be part of this great club. And I just remember having the season with the second team where I scored 14 goals. I was really itching for a first team contract. I'm like, man, if I get a first team contract, I want to put Haiti on the map. I want to shout out my community. I want to give back to my community, and I just want to be a representation of them. And for that to happen, it was amazing because you're right about the diversity. It was the very Spanish influenced team, and there's nothing wrong about that. But I just felt like, if a Haitian can get in there or a Jamaican can get in there, then, it's a big look for just our country and our community. So
no, for sure, it's huge. Like, like it's such a, big part of the South Florida soccer scene and our culture here in South Florida for soccer. Um, so, so you kind of, it was like, I knew about you, and like like people knew about you, but I think after that first, second team season, it was like, whoa, hold on. Like, this guy, see, you, was the first hat trick was again, you had the hat trick, versus,
yeah.
was it versus New England,
Nah,
versus New
nah,
England.
so it's crazy you say Philly. Philly was my breakthrough game. That's when I was like, hey, I'm playing my old team after a month of leaving them. But yeah, when I played them, it was, we were down 2-0 at the time. And then I was like, listen, man, if I get in, man, I know the center backs, know the team. I know how my coach wants to play. Um, and even the opposing coach, I knew how he wanted to play. I'm like, man, just give me my chance and I'll show you. So, when I got in, yeah, when I got in, I scored the first one. I was like, okay, bet, like now we can start getting things going. And then I scored the second to tie it up. And then it was a crazy game because I never thought that I'd be facing my childhood team, So, for me to do that and even score on them, it was a bittersweet moment, but I'm glad I got to, one of them a little bit.
No, it's crazy, man. So, and now I think like you definitely, everybody knows that you're somebody to look out for. Well, what is it like, being a important piece of the system when you have players like, Messi, Suarez on the team?
I think it's important to know your role. Um, Obviously when you have the biggest players in the world playing on the field, Jordi Alba, Busquets, you have Messi, and then, new, Luis Suarez, new to our team. I think it's important to know that, okay, this system has to be built around them.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that because, like I
Yeah.
said, they're the greatest players in the world. So you have to have a system that's built around them. So, for each player, it's important to know how you can, utilize their role in order to help them and in order to help, obviously, the team win games. So I think for me, it's not doing too much and just doing my job. And my job is to score or, just create a lot of chances and just be ready whenever my name's called.
Well, I think that was pretty evident in in the game versus Newell's. It was like, when you came on, you weren't goal, even though you scored, you weren't goal hungry. Like you really were making like a lot of great connecting passes and, creating plays. And,
Mm.
so I think everybody was shocked by that. Where do you think that type of, that game comes from?
So I would say it comes from just individually being able to be comfortable with the ball. Obviously, this is system as well. When you have Tata Martino, great coach, he's very possession based and it's all about, little quick combinations to get in behind or just like move the defenders around. And, when he first came, it was new to me because, we go from playing a more direct style of play of football when Phil was here to now containing the ball and, trying to move everybody around. But, Yeah, every training, it's rondos, it's, possession drills, it's possession to shoot. And that's kind of where you build the habits of keeping the ball in tight space of control.
So for younger players and for people who, I mean, just for people who might be interested, like, the first game you were brought into the game, preseason you were brought into the games. How do you chip away at that to prove yourself, earn your minutes?
It starts really, in the mind, mentally, just preparing. I know that some players will get their opportunities and they'll be able to, mess up here and there. And I know some players, it's a one or done opportunity. And for me, I've always took that mentality as a one or done opportunity. And I'm confident in myself, and I know that the work that I've put in on the off season and just my entire life, whatever moment that I'm going to get, I'm confident that I'm going to make the most of it. And that's kind of how I live every single game and every single moment, and practice as well. But, that's kind of how I'm ready for just opportunities. And I just know I need to step up in that moment.
No, that's a great answer, bro. So for the MLS, obviously it's every kid's dream, here in the States. What's been some of the surprising things that you didn't, you might not have thought of, even though you've kind of been around the game for so long now?
I'll say the most surprising thing, uh, I'll say the amount of fans that the MLS has. I didn't know the MLS was that big, but especially with Messi coming here, man, when I tell you the League Cup game that he first played in, this was last year. It was against Cruz Azul.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, but that was the game when I was like, wow, the MLS is huge, and just the fans and the atmosphere and just the passion that was felt in that game. That's when I was like, man, the MLS is just different, man. I never expected it to be like that.
It is, man. It's like, people don't like, I mean, maybe a lot of even people here, like they don't, it's because it's our own, they kind of like maybe take it for granted or don't realize how like special it is. But, I see games in Europe where they're not as packed as the games we have here in the MLS, and so like CONCACAF as a whole, like, I personally love, like, I love D1 soccer. I love the MLS. I love our, it's a growing and it's something that we build on. How have you seen it grow since you were a kid playing in Lauderdale to now?
So when I was growing up, we had the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and it's funny because the stadium we play in is owned by the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, like a while ago.
Yeah,
Obviously not a team anymore, but I just remember growing up and seeing them play, and it was really the only professional team around here.
yeah.
There wasn't really that many fans, but a lot of people were very passionate about that. And, I wasn't blessed enough to have an MLS academy growing up around here. And my dad would take me to some of the games. But when I came back and obviously Inter Miami became a team, I saw a lot of fans that were kind of just itching for a professional team around here. And the culture that's been built is just amazing because now the MLS is a growing place and a growing league. And Inter Miami's went from being a team 4 years ago to being one of the biggest teams in the world right now. So I'll say that's the biggest change, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I'm so happy you said that. And I don't want anybody enter to get bad when I say like I'm excited about a new stadium, but the drive pink, well, we chased whatever.
Yeah, I
The
mean, it's still a
strikers,
drive fake to me, but
yeah, it's still a drive pink, right?
yeah, fact, fact.
So it's it's special, and it's the only stadium that has that history here, and especially from a Haitian player. I think Mano Sanon even played in that stadium one
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Patrick Chardieu, Fafa Pico,
That's my
uh,
boy. Fafa is my dog, man.
bro, like
Yeah.
it's some like it's far. If you're a Haitian player, bro, that's a special stadium to play in.
No, yeah, most definitely. That's why I say it's an amazing feeling to be in that stadium because I would always dream of playing in the Lockhart Stadium, and it's crazy because now looking at it, it wasn't the biggest stadium back then, but yeah, I would always dream of playing in that stadium, and I just remember seeing all the Haitian fans, the Caribbean fans, even the Spanish fans. And
Yeah.
for it to be what it is now, it's definitely deja vu, but I love it.
Did you ever get to go to any of the Copa Latina games when you were a kid?
I never got to go to any of those because my dad was busy a lot. But I say the very first game was Spain versus Haiti, and that was back in 2013, I think. That was at the Hard Rock. That wasn't even the Lockhart, but
Yeah.
that's another thing that was crazy too. It's because I'm literally playing with two of the best players now, Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets, and that was the first time I ever seen them in person. I was like
Wow.
10, 11 years old. Yeah. And we were playing Haiti, which was even crazier. So,
That's amazing. So you go from actually getting to see them in person to playing with them.
yeah. And I would say that's where two of my dreams first started. That's when I really wanted to play with Haiti. Because I remember my teammate, Donald Guerre, he's on the Haitian national team. He scored against Spain, and it was like a 7-1 game. Oh, no, it was 2-1, actually. It's 2-1. And I just remember him scoring, and I was like, man, I want to be like him one day, but I also want to be like Busquets and Jordi one day. So that's when the whole dream really started.
So moving forward, bro, like I really feel like, this year is a important year from you. The MLS season is long. There's a lot of games. What are some of your goals for the rest of the season?
My goals it's really to play at least 20 games. Just be ready for that. I want to start a few games. So I haven't had my first MLS start yet, but that's something that I'm working towards every day, and I feel like it's getting closer. I want to win trophies this year as well, and just be on the same field as Messi as much as I can, and just learn from the biggest players in the world, but also make a name for myself this year.
Yeah. What have you learned, playing with Messi? Like, what's that like?
Bro, it's different, man. I don't even know where to start, but I would say when I tell you he's an alien, definitely not from this planet. The things he does on the field is ridiculous. I'll definitely give you a story. I know Thierry Henry said this once he said this on one of the podcasts like a while ago, but he was talking about how Messi got mad and, cause he didn't get a foul called in training or something like that. And it was a small sided, game, and Messi got fouled and he didn't get the foul at all. And he was like, all right, bet. So he takes the ball from his goalkeeper, dribbles to everybody and scores. And I'm like, there's no way. When he came to Inter Miami, this was, I'll say like the first week, second week he started training with us. This was when we just threw him in one of like the, game formats. We're playing small sided. But I'll tell you, this guy literally created 18 chances, and he was a neutral. He created 18 chances for both teams, and he had the most goals too. And on top of that, the next day he came back and then he dribbled through damn near our whole team and scored, and everyone's just like shocked. And I'm like, yeah, this is definitely like he's a different level, bro.
That's wild, bro. That's wild. What? So I'll ask you a few more questions. This is more like one-off stuff that I usually try to ask everybody. So what is the craziest stadium that you played at?
It's a great question. Craziest stadium.
Or you can just say fans even, craziest fans.
I would have to say, honestly, this is the most recent one. This was it Tokyo? Yeah, it was Tokyo. No, it was Hong Kong, actually. That was the craziest. Bro, there was like 50 to 60,000 fans there at training. And it wasn't even a game. So that was when I was like, yo, this is a lot.
That was crazy. That was a crazy trip, man. What was that like playing it, overseas like that? Well, because you guys were in Saudi also.
Bro, it was a great experience, man. I think it was an even greater experience because, like I told you, Inter Miami went from being just an MLS team to a global team. And for us to be one of the first MLS teams to put MLS on the map like that, it was a great opportunity. And I've never been to Tokyo, never been to Hong Kong, and I've never even been to Saudi Arabia. I've been close to it, but not really Saudi Arabia. So, for me to experience those different cultures and, different teams and the fans and the food was the best part too. But for me to experience all of that, it was more than soccer. And that's when I was like, man, soccer can take you to so many different places and help you meet so many different people and so many different cultures. So that's what the best part of that trip was.
It's like my favorite thing in the world, bro. Like to go somewhere completely new, and it's if there's soccer there, like we could
Yeah,
communicate, we could, like we
that
could.
was good.
It's like this, yeah, and it's different everywhere. Like everywhere has like a different version of soccer. Um, what a lot of people might not realize about Haitian soccer, if they're not familiar with it too, is like Haitian soccer is very tiki taka. It is very like flamboyant, like the
Yeah, like
soccer that
Blair.
yeah, flair. Yeah.
Mm.
So what is your goals for Haiti, man? What would you like to accomplish for the national team?
Man, national team has always been a goal of mine, and I'm blessed to be able to say that I've had a few caps with them and played for the youth team, and it's that is more than soccer for me, to play for my country because my parents are from Haiti, and even my family's from there. So whenever I put on the Haitian shirt, that just brings so much joy to my grandma, to my dad, to my mom, and my auntie, and just everyone in Haiti. So, my goal is just to obviously play for them this year again and to be of assistance to hopefully make it to the World Cup or, big tournaments and, put Haiti on the map again.
Yeah, I think you guys could win the Gold Cup for sure, bro. I
We
believe
were
it.
close. We were
I'm
close. 2019, I think was that it?
Oh my gosh.
2019,
Yeah, when they beat Canada, came back down, Nazlon
bro.
made them. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I shouldn't be saying this on the podcast or TV or anything, but hey, we were cheated that game. That's all I was saying.
Cheated, no,
We
it
were
was
cheated.
cheated, no, for
We were
sure,
cheated
bro.
that game. I felt like,
Cheated.
hey, we'll be back again. We'll be back again. Felt like it was a good opening eye moment for the whole world because, Haiti's not in the best position right now as a country. So, soccer is definitely something that can bring joy and, I think bring a lot of that happiness back to Haiti. So, I'm just hoping that we can go forward and go forward in tournaments.
That's dope, man. And so for a little kid who's trying to be the next you, bro, what would you tell them?
If you believe in God, I definitely say put all your faith in God, and, work hard. But if you don't, I would say just dream big and dream with no limits. Because once you start putting limits, you never see how good you can be, or you never know how you can reach your potential. But dreaming with no limits will definitely turn you to a different person and allow you to see things that you've never been able to see or even experience. So yeah, just dreaming big and hard work and dedication. As cliche as that may sound.
No, man, it's like everybody I talk to, all the players that make it, they are serious about that, and it's always like there's a formula. As much as
Yeah.
people might want to say like, oh, Schneider's just super talented, he is, but there's a formula. It's like
Say that's the hardest part is I mean, so it's always easy to dream, but the hardest part is when you chase your dream and you realize how far fetched you could possibly be from that dream. For me, I've never thought I'd be at Inter Miami. I just said I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And even though it wasn't a crazy dream for me, I experienced a lot of adversity, and I say the faith and the drive is what kept me going. And that's the one thing I would say to a younger player is whenever you face adversity, just remember your why and the reason why you want to, be whatever it is you want to be. Like,
that's awesome, man. It really is like you said, there's nothing cliche about it. It's a formula, and it's definitely something that's replicatable. So I think that's great advice. And as far as training, what would you like if you were to you're talking to a group of kids? What would you tell them to focus on?
I'll say every player is different. The play to your strengths, really. I think that's one thing I learned at the professional level. Every player is different. I'll say compare me to Messi. Messi is what Messi does, I can't do, but certain things that I can do, I'm sure he won't be able to do it in terms of,
No, you can say it, bro.
yeah, like,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to say he wouldn't be able to do, but I'll say more so like, we just know each other's strengths. And
Right.
I think as a young kid, knowing what you're good at and honing in on those skills and trying to obviously work on things you're not that good at, but be you and obviously take things from players and study the game. But I'll say just be you and I guess like I said, just work on your strength as much as possible.
That's awesome. I do think everybody's different. And for the players who think like that you have to do all these like tricks and all this stuff, all these technical skills at the professional level. What is the thing that you notice that it's at the professional level that's just it's not at the youth level? Like you know what I'm saying?
I'd say really two things. I'll probably say maybe two or three, but first is speed of play. Speed of play is a very big thing. And I'll tell you, you have high level intelligent players all around. 22 players on the field. Everyone's very high intelligent players. And you just need to know how to break those players down, if that makes sense. And the ball's always moving just back and forth, back and forth. So you only have like 2-3 seconds if you're even lucky to make a decision on the ball. And then I'll say the second part is the technical side of it. There's not many players doing step overs, not many players doing flicks and tricks like that, unless you're Neymar or, if you have a bag like that. But I'll say for the general soccer player in the professional world, it's all about being as technical as possible. Receiving hard passes, knowing what type of pass to make, when to shoot, when not to, and using your moves whenever you can, like the scissors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that. And then the third is just knowing the game. And that's just knowing and understanding little pockets, little spaces to be in and knowing where to be at all times. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of players don't really get till they're older. So,
Yeah.
those are the three things I would say that's going to help, a kid progress in their career.
No, that's some great advice. Who is the toughest defender you've had to go against in MLS?
Great question. Toughest defender I've ever had to go up against. Hey. I'll say two. I probably shouldn't say this on here because he's gonna get a big head. But Kamal Miller, he's one of the toughest center backs I played against. He was also my teammate for about a year. In training, he was always pretty hard to get past. And I say one person I really, really, really love and like is Jacob Blessness. He's on the Philadelphia Union. He's probably the toughest center back I've ever played against. See my life. He's a tank. He's hard to get past, and he doesn't really have much emotion. But I think that's what makes him who he is. He's just like it's a brick wall, man. But yeah, I'll say Kamal Miller and Jacob Blessness.
So as a striker, like what are those things that make it difficult for to go against a defender?
I'll say for me, it's if I'm mismatched. So if I have like a smaller defender, I know I can use my physical presence on him. But if I meet a defender who's a lot taller and kind of my size, now it's all about how can I create space away from him. And I think that's the hardest part for me is being able to match up with those type of guys because,
or like you said, like kind of dissecting the player.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's the hardest part because, you're facing so many different defenders every game, and the defender you played against last week is not going to be the same defender you play against next week. So
it's crazy to see that
in the game. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Mark.
No,
sorry. It's crazy to say that because like lately I've been seeing like there's, just like you are like a 6'5" forward who has crazy feet, who can shoot with both feet, technical. There's also these center backs who are getting smaller, but are like, so they're able to pivot really quickly. They're able to, one-on-one defending. They're really good. It's like weird, like soccer is changing, right? We have these bigger players who are getting more technical and more shifty, and these smaller defenders who are like able to cover that.
It's crazy because my brother even told me that last week. We were just kind of having just talk about sports, and he wanted to understand the game of soccer more. but he was saying, is it normal for a 6'5" striker to be playing? And I was like, I mean, I think so. You see a lot of them, like Erling Haaland, see Lukaku, even Paul Pogba. He was in the midfield. He's
Yeah.
like 6'4", 6'5". So it's crazy to see how the game changed, and it's just it's really everybody's game now, And you could be 5'4", 5'5". You could be all the way up to 6'7". So it's
Yeah.
like, it's crazy how there's different things, and it's amazing to see how the game's changing.
No, it's really cool, bro. That's why I love soccer, man. Um, so last couple questions, bro.
Sure.
Do you have any message for the fans for Haiti, Inter Miami, whoever they may be who love Shanyder?
Yeah, I'll definitely say for the Haitian fans, just thank you for giving me all the support and, just pushing me even when I did not know I had all that support and love behind me, but always embracing me and just always being proud to show me off as a Haitian and saying, that's my guy. So I'll just say thank you for that. And for the Inter Miami fans, I just love just the support I've gotten from them as well. It's an amazing feeling to be a hometown kid and to be playing in that stadium, but also having the fans love and support behind me as well. So, the Inter Miami family has always been good to me, and I'm always happy to be a Heron.
And I think that we are. I think everybody in Miami is super proud of the academy, super proud of the players that come from here. But you especially, I really think that you have a bright future ahead of you. I think you could be one of the best strikers in the league. I mean that. So I just want to say thank you again for getting on, man, and good luck the rest of the season. And you know, definitely, I really would love to see you bring home a Gold Cup for Haiti.
Oh, that's definitely on the books. I just want to check that off. But thank you for the opportunity to just hear my story and just to kind of get the word out of who I am, and just being so patient with me. I appreciate that because like I said, I'm blessed to be in this position to just talk about my story and how I got here, and hopefully to be an inspiration to other players and just people in general. So just thank you for having me, bro.
No, man, I definitely think you are. And not to just to wrap that up, bro, like this, having, just the start of your life being a blessing and a miracle, your story of how you got to where you were 1 year at Weston and then making it to Philadelphia Union, 2 years in signing a contract, and then coming back home. It's a testament to who you are, to your faith, to your family. So super inspiring story, and one that I think will just keep growing, man.
I appreciate that, man. Like Nipsey also said it best. It was just like the greatest thing in human, just a human life is to inspire others, and I'm just happy to do that on a daily basis, and I just want to continue doing that. So, like I said, thank you for the opportunity, man.